I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Issues. And today is almost New Year's, kind of.
Might be after New Year's. We're not sure when this
No,
is.
I
When
think
is
this
Wednesday?
This is going to be like the December 27th.
Oh,
No, right?
maybe.
Hold on. Where's my notes?
Well, anyway, Happy New Year's, everyone.
Upcoming. This is like a preparatory New Year episode.
Right.
This isn't like we've sang and parties have been thrown and we don't remember where we were. Well,
I mean,
Bill never remembers where he's
some
at.
of us don't have to party to not remember where we were.
Yeah. This will be, if you're listening now, it should be the 27th of December. So Christmas is behind us, New Year's is before us, and we've got plans.
Right.
They're not big plans, but they're also not small plans.
Yeah, they're moderate plans.
Yeah.
It's just like how NASA throws a party.
Moderately?
They plan it.
Oh, jeez.
That's so funny.
Oh, wow.
It is. Oh, in Napanee, they have a giant SpaceX rocket.
They do.
Did you see that while you were driving?
Are you talking about the art pieces?
Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of cool stuff.
It's
There's
kind of a new one.
like
I didn't
people
see that one.
hanging. There's a battle droid, and there's people. There's
saw
a
the
guy
battle droid one.
hanging a moon, and
The creepiest they do that every year. The creepiest ones where they made these kind of lifelike people just like standing there.
dude,
And it was right when I first moved
there was
to
like
Napanee.
one on a bench too, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
I thought they
I
were
remember
real
those.
people because I only ever saw them while I was driving by. I'm like, dude, that guy's always on that bench. And then I actually was like walking, like, wait, that son of a gun isn't even real.
He might have been a son of a gun. What if it was like recycled metal?
It could have been.
He could have been a literal son of a gun.
It's possible.
Wow, that's a cool experience, Will.
Nah.
Thanks for sharing with us, Rock.
About how weird my brain works.
How your brain doesn't know statues unless you're not moving quickly past them. You're like, I visited this art museum and people were like standing in these displays. It was really weird. I was jogging through and didn't notice.
I was in this art museum.
There's a
It was
naked
before
guy.
I even bought my house,
There's a bunch of people looking through windows. It's really strange.
right?
Wow, so that was a while ago.
When I was renting that apartment there,
Yeah.
and I had just moved. I was going up through town and stuff, kind of figuring stuff out. I'm like, wow, there's actually a lot of people downtown. Come to find out, there's not.
Come to find
Wouldn't
out.
that be funny? Like a small town just puts a bunch of statues out, so when people go through, they're like, "Wow, this place is happening."
They hire a guy to
They
move
like
them every night.
I was gonna say like you move them to different spots and like or like different times of day. Like you have people looking like they're going to their jobs in the morning,
Napanee, if you're listening.
right?
We can make you look real populated. Which wasn't that a thing in like a post-apocalyptic movie?
Oh, I'm sure it's
Like,
been something.
Well, I mean, it was definitely a thing in Blazing Saddles.
You know you bring
Maybe.
that up on probably a quarter of the episodes, and I have still not seen it.
We need to watch that.
I know that's what we say, and you and Will have seen it.
Yes.
So Will knows what I'm talking about.
It's the one that I'm odd man out on.
Umbrella Academy kind of has that where like he falls in love with the mannequin, but I think it was I Am Legend. He kind of had
Did
some
he have
thing with,
mannequin friends?
Like he had some mannequins in this store that he would kind of talk to.
That sounds right.
I was gonna say that's the movie I thought of when you said that, but I've seen it once and it was years ago, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
trust you. You can't remember
trust me.
anything that's
That's your first mistake.
you can't remember anything related to this podcast, but I'm gonna trust that you remember something totally random from a movie from like 10 years ago.
Yep.
Yep.
You think that was 10 years ago? How close do you think I am? Wow, we are so far off track. What?
No, we're gonna keep it going.
It's Will's looking it up. So anyway, we hope that you have fun and exciting New Year's plans coming up. This is going to be a short episode because we didn't read anything. Kind of following off the heels of the Christmas episode last week, where this is just a special. It's not a full blown read along. But unlike the Christmas episode last week, we don't have a list or anything like that. We
Wow.
discussed having a list. Oh, he found
2007.
so over 10 years ago.
That's
Over
definitely
10
over 10 years
That's
ago.
over 15 years ago. Wow, we're getting old. Because
You have no room to talk.
whatever, you're not that much older than me.
That's why
You're
have no
way
room to
older
talk.
than me, though.
I am closer
Thanks,
in
Will.
age. I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
closer in age to you than Will is in age to me.
So what?
But I'm saying we're not that far apart. Will is further down than I am. And then
Oh my!
Anyway, yes.
what the crap? And
This is
that
what
is
you
why
get for
you
recording in the morning.
No, that was your choice. I didn't want to
Yeah.
record in the morning, and you bullied us into it.
So you go be a con man again.
Yeah, you con artist. Actually, you're not participating, so you're not an artist. You're just a con.
Right.
Dang it, man. I don't want to hear anything out of you because it was your decision.
Okay.
How dare you love spaceships? Gosh dang it.
You know, I figured that is the reason I love Star Citizen.
Is the spaceship
They have like close over 100 spaceships at this point.
in the
Yeah.
game?
Yes.
Not just design.
Literally,
Right.
Okay. I wanted to be
Pretty
clear
sure. Yeah.
that you mean physically able to be
So hang on.
touched
There's
in the game.
definitely over 70 physically being able to be touched in the game, if you're counting the variants.
But this is really meant to just be informative for our listener and to let them know that we have a new plan for the new year. So as we're all enjoying the change of, the year and getting those things and plans in our heads, we just want to let you know what our plans are, since we're hoping that you're still going to be following along and being a part of our lives, and that we get to keep being a special part of your lives. A lot of you Wednesday morning listeners, that it's become a routine. We're glad we can be a part of that. So to let you know what we're doing. But I just had an idea. It wasn't, well, here we go. Do you guys, this is going to be weird.
it
It's
usually
gonna be
is.
Are you going to have them send us their New Year's resolutions
No.
so we can keep them on track? Is that what you're
Oh,
doing?
man. How would you guys like that? If you want to send your New Year's resolutions to
If you want
Longbox
the worst
at
life coaches you could possibly not hire. So if you want free life coaching, please send us
Yeah,
your
this is
Wendy,
worse
did
than
you
free
make another
advice.
pie yet? You said you were going to make one a week for the year. Brad said that he's not going to gain weight from every weekly pie. How's that going? No.
Weekly pie.
Do either of you have goals for your next year? Have you
I
considered
think
that?
we were talking about this.
Like personal goals?
We were talking
we're not talking
about
about personal.
at when we were at the bar the other night, getting drinks, kind of discussing how we're going to do this podcast, and I was telling you guys about that canoeing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then
They don't-
Texas.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll do that one because that's intense.
That's
you got to
like-
be in
that's
supreme.
like the-
Just like
you got to be in
camping.
supreme
You said that
shape.
then.
I know, I had to repeat it. That was for the listener.
Wait, what did he say? I was talking over myself.
I said just
No,
like
you were
camping.
talking over Pat, and that's okay. Tell
Yes.
your story.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yes.
So, Will, why don't you tell the listener about what this canoeing goal that you and your dad?
Oh, well, there's
you and your
like
dad are
a
thinking about?
national association where you can sign up. I think it's really cheap, like administrative fee, whatever. You can go in, and then you go on these competitions. There's all these different categories for like, there's a men's division, there's a women's division, there's solo, 2-man. You can be in a large 6-man actual like rowing thing, and it's basically any watercraft that doesn't have a motor is basically well, depending on what division you're in, they have different like size requirements for the boat or limitations and stuff. But we just want to do. I think me and my dad were talking about doing the 2-man canoeing division, and they have all different competitions here in this area. We have quite a few rivers. They've got some down south in like the Wabash. But then we can also go to like Illinois and Ohio and some in Michigan. But then there's this really big national competition down in Texas where you start like almost in the middle and you go all the way down this river into the Gulf, and you have to actually go through the bay up to the finish line. And you have 100 hours to finish it. And
You said people like hallucinate.
yeah, people,
like,
there's this guy, because my dad heard about it first, and he was watching a video on it on YouTube. He said that when the guy had first attempted it, I can't remember if he actually succeeded. He was awake for about 60 hours, and he was hallucinating that there were things on the riverbank and monkeys and all this other crazy stuff, and because he was insanely sleep deprived at that point. So
yeah.
maybe
So that's
maybe I'll
kind
make
of a goal.
Make this like a goal. Get signed up.
Cool.
Start doing some.
You should do that.
Doing the canoeing. Yeah.
Doing some canoeing.
What about you, Patrick? Anything? Gonna get your guitar fixed? Start playing?
Yeah, you know what? That sounds like a plan.
Well, we also know you've already begun a weight loss journey. That's a goal,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to be able to do awesome cosplay. That's not the main reason, but
Yeah,
that's a motivator.
Definitely
It's
not the main reason.
It's not even like really on the list, but it's something that I keep saying for you because
do.
you're like, oh, that would be cool. So it's just one of those things that I throw in as a fun bonus to your achievements.
Okay, so
right?
should I work on my guitar or should I work on my saxophone?
Ooh.
Oh, you know,
You got a top hat and a saxophone?
I do. I do.
This
I'm
could
that
be,
guy.
This could be fun.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to say saxophone. I think you should, you know, when the time comes, sometime in the coming year, when you decide, you know what, I'm willing to spend a little money, I think you should get those lessons that you've been talking about. I do.
Okay.
I think that'd be awesome. I know a guy who is a phenomenal saxophone player. Like, no joke. One of the best I've ever heard in person. Like, truly gifted.
Cool.
And
So you could say he's a sensational saxophone player.
yes. Precisely. So
Good observation there, Will.
Yes. Old Dr. Seuss here. I was trying to one-up him.
Anyway. So what dang it,
Anyway,
now-
what about you?
Hold on.
Disrupt
Hold on.
I could talk with him. I don't think he gives lessons anymore. Because his life has changed and he's kind of given up music, even though he's one of the most talented musicians I've ever met. He was in a band that was going to be signed, and they had people leave the band, and it was. But his life kind of took a different turn. He does other stuff now. I don't think music is a big thing anymore for him, but
That's sad.
it is sad because he has, dude, I'm not exaggerating, immense talent. Like, you could hand him an instrument he's never even seen before, and in like 20 minutes he could probably play you a song on it. It's insane. But his main instrument was saxophone and then guitar. If he would have time to teach, he would be an amazing instructor, actually. He gets how to teach people. But I don't know. I might reach out to him, see if he...
Sure. Just, it's not going to happen before my birthday.
Okay.
Just letting you know. Time-wise.
You can't play saxophone before Good Friday.
No.
Is that like a Lent thing?
For religious purposes, I can't touch that sacrilegious saxophone anytime soon.
Just for reasons.
Okay. That's fine.
So, like, if you run out and talk to him tomorrow and he's like, all right, let's do it next week, I want to set expectations. That's it.
Now I just want to know what. That's such a hard start. Like, that's like...
Anyway, Chris, how about you? Do you have any goals?
Currently?
Yeah, very like anything you want going on for the next year.
Well, I do want there are a couple. I would like to continue to improve my banjo playing and get to a point where I can pretty much naturally transition to more or like organic playing. I've been playing it a lot lately, and I'm gonna keep with it and see if I can get to a point where I can be learning a lot more songs instead of just patterns and things like that.
Cool.
And I would say there's some like family goals, some things for the family that I have in mind. I would also like to see myself be able to make some sacrifices that some things I've been trying to give up here and there, and do maybe achieve some of that a little bit.
Like Dr. Seuss?
No.
Oh, okay.
Never.
Just checking.
Trying to put these crazy words together
No. Now that'll be in me forever.
to the day I die.
To the day I'm in the grave. So, but yeah,
then
like I have
maybe again
I have a
afterwards.
couple things.
Cool.
You'll be in your kitchen, and you'll just hear someone whisper something into your ear, and it'll be like, "Oh, what was that? Oh, Chris! Gosh dang it, haunting me."
It's like,
You'll be like,
you get a chill on the
get
back
like-
of your neck. You're like going to stir creamer into your coffee or something, and you're like, "Too soon for spoons, you big buffoon."
So you're saying Chris is going to be the poltergeist with issues?
yeah, you'll get ghost writings that are just weird poems.
nonsensical sequiturs. Oh, that's a
Yeah, that'd be funny.
yeah.
Interesting thing I read once about New Year's resolutions. This one particularly kind of more pertains to weight loss, but kind of anything, is that you should spend like the first quarter of the year really like setting easy habits, because we have limited sunlight in the wintertime. And so really before March isn't a good time to try to be like making a lot of changes, because sunlight has a huge effect on your mood and everything. And so the less sunlight you get, kind of the harder it is to make these. So you're trying to make all these big life changes when you're not at your best, if that makes sense. And so they advise, like, if your plan is weight loss for the year, you should start like in those beginning months just working on your diet. Because that's not something you don't have to like get up early. You don't have to really like change a whole lot. But get some recipes around, find some things you like to eat that are better, and just start replacing some of the things you shouldn't be eating with better alternatives. And slowly over time, over the first few months of the year, just get those things out of the way. Just switching to like coffee and water. If you drink a lot of pop, you can just get that out of your diet, and that'll help a lot. And then once we can start getting more sunlight, then you can start hitting I need to start getting up earlier so I can make it to the gym, or making whatever larger changes you need to make.
Interesting.
And he says we're not good life coaches.
No, right?
And you usually tell us we don't know any kind of science, and that's a social science.
Yeah.
No,
Do I say that?
no.
Like, am I that rude?
We
Yeah.
did argue about science for
Well, sure.
a while one time.
Well, twice. There were at least two times that Pat was unhappy with science in our readings. He's okay with wooden rocket ships, but he
Heck
didn't
yeah.
like power batteries and lantern chargings, and he certainly doesn't like the science behind Ninja Turtle blood collection.
It's just
Stop. No, this is a new year. We're not going back. We're not going back.
I still have a few days.
Oh, shoot. Oh, callbacks to the previous few episodes, right? But we did discuss doing like a revisit of our top 3 superhero lists for this, but we were like, we don't want to do 2 lists in a row. Plus, We have more to come over the next year. So we are going to just hold off and maybe at our 1 year, we're going to revisit. So here's your first, or let's begin talking about our plans for the next year. For our 1 year, we have a couple different ideas. Around that, we are going to revisit our favorite hero lists, see how those have changed, if they've changed, and especially for Will and Patrick, since they were the ones that were thrown into it and had to make the split-second decisions in our original issue 0. So that'll be fun. We are also, so this is, because this is about halfway to our 1 year mark. So you've still got some time, still got months to go. But at the 1 year, we also have some other plans that we're trying to see if maybe there's a way that we can get some audience participation in a little bit. We discussed more on that later.
Right.
We'll see how things are going and if people would be interested in doing some stuff. But oh no, it's sleeping.
Push the button at the top.
How do you push a button?
How do you push a button?
You're pretty good at pushing buttons.
I'm great at pushing buttons. I have a number of people in my life that would say I'm an excellent button pusher. What?
Sorry, I said that in my head. I'm picturing Sierra sitting at her desk listening to this, and it's been like, "Yep."
So let's talk about some ideas we've had. So this last, 6 months of this silly podcast that we've started, that was your pen adhering to the metal on the table.
Whatever.
So we haven't really had a solid structure. We had one when we started where we were doing ongoing Nightfall stuff every other episode. And then we had special issues come up and guest appearances and split issues due to length. And we ended up not keeping it consistent every other episode, which is something that we would prefer to do if we're trying to really dig into something. Based on feedback, some of the people who read along would also prefer we do that. So we have tried to look at opportunities for some fun things over the next year, though. The first being, January, we don't really have a solid plan. The next few weeks, probably more of our normal kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We do have an idea we've discussed, but we haven't solidified it, so I'm not going to say that. But February brings the season of love, right?
Or something.
Or, for some people, commercialized candy and cards. And so with the theme of San Valentin, we were like, hey, why don't we do Couples Month for February? So the month of February, we are going to take a look at some famous comic book couples, and each of our issues that release during those 4 weeks will be themed around a different couple, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And I believe
Okay.
this came about as a suggestion from your wife
Well,
or one of our emails.
We had talked about it, and I started getting suggestions from my wife on some people we could
okay.
do.
'Cause I think I vaguely remember one of the emails she wrote. She's like, "Hey, for February Valentine's Day, you could do
Nightwing and
Nightwing
Starfire.
and Starfire."
Yeah, which is one. I like Nightwing and Barbara.
And then we
My wife
decided,
and I are
hey, how about
contention.
how about we extend this over the entire month?
Yeah, I'm thinking
so-
there's a lot of good ones. My problem is, I think I go straight to DC for a lot of the couples stuff because you have so many to choose from. You have Green Arrow and Black Canary,
Yeah.
Lois and Clark, Bruce and Selena, the Bat and the Cat. Come on. That's super famous. You have, there was another one I was about to say. We already mentioned Nightwing. But then the one that always stands out in my mind for Marvel related is really Peter Parker and Mary Jane, or Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. Mm-hmm. It's Peter and Gwen or Peter and Mary. That would actually be, oh, I know what we'll do. I have an idea. Okay, we already have it locked in. That one's taken care of. One of them will be a Peter Parker story.
Wonderful.
So there you go. There's a teaser for you all. And then rolling into if any of you have suggestions for our couples month, if you know enough about any kind of superhero couple that you're like, I love their dynamic, throw in your vote. Send us an email at longbox@guyswithissues.com. You know
what would be a fun twist? Joker and Harley.
Yeah, but that's I don't like to endorse that relationship.
Nope.
Because it's terrible. People do like it. They do.
I know.
But it's unhealthy and toxic. We want to lift up the healthier ones.
Some of us do.
Will's like, where are the villains in this list? Oh, what about Mr. Freeze and his wife?
Right?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, man. Except it's not really about, I mean, it is about them, right?
Yeah.
Like, technically.
Technically.
You know, if we read short stories, we could do like Mr. Freeze and his wife and Joker and Harley for an episode.
Oh, yeah.
We could do like an issue kind of thing or something.
Where it's like,
well, I like that we're
darker
spitballing. This is
We'll
like on
spitball it.
air.
Yeah.
On air. Normally, this is the kind of nonsense that we never get around to when we're not on air. But this but you feel involved now, listener. You get to be like, oh, I like that idea, or that sucks, Will. So
I hear that a lot.
no, you don't.
You're
You're a
right.
liar.
Yeah, you just read it a lot from our one listener. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
So
Is it nap time yet?
you look like you're about to
I know,
fall
right? I don't know what the
asleep
heck's going
and
on
it's
with me
the
today.
morning. Actually, is it noon? Did it switch?
Nope. 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. And then he's going to be wide awake.
You know what, Pat? You know
So
what
then-
you need on top of your whiskey that you just had at 10 a.m.?
Don't say. It was 11, bro.
Or
That's
maybe
lunch.
11.
That's a
He's trying
lunch
to justify our day drinking. But we can continue
Can
to
we-
drink our way out of this.
It's only day drinking if you stop.
So the reality is I'm going to sound like the bad guy. I'm going to be the villain. But I encourage Pat and Will a little bit to have a drink during the podcast because in the past that helped them be chatty. They've gotten to a point where they don't need it like they did in the beginning. Not that they needed it, but they do pause less. And for me as an editor, that goes a long way. And so when we record early, they typically don't drink, which is, it's sensible. Oftentimes they have plans for the day and different things, and they're like, you know what, it's too early. But today we were starting at around 11, and I was like, that's like a brunch champagne or a lunch or whatever, and they don't really have anything that they have really going on today. So I'm the bad influence because I'm the one that doesn't drink on the podcast. And I just encourage it because I think they enjoy it. It just helps them enjoy the entire experience better.
Oh, I always enjoy drinking.
And that was called a filibuster that while they passed around their next drinks, I was just filibustering the space that was available.
This is like almost exclusively the only time I do drink
I know.
is this podcast.
Oh, wow, really? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
Shoot.
or when you go out with us on occasion.
Right, on occasion.
Like not even so as Will mentioned when we planned this the other day, we went to the bar. Pat just had a water. So
Right.
I had a stout because they had a special seasonal one that sounded really good, and it was. And Will had French toast in a glass.
Well, I had a Blue Moon before you guys even got there. Basically finished. And then they had this bourbon barrel ale, but they
French
mixed in
toast.
some other stuff, and it made it taste like French toast.
It was called Founder's French Toast something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
And it smelled like maple syrup.
Oh, it was so good. But it's 11%.
Yeah, so that was the only
It was-
other beer he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that and was good to go.
But yeah, so a little social lubricant for a podcast can go a long way. So that's all. That's all that is. But anyway,
Anywho,
I feel like we talked about other things too.
we did. I was just waiting to continue. Do you want to mention the next thing? In the season of spring, tra-la-la.
We might do some plant or nature based comics.
Yeah. We know that there's some heroes and villains who are really into plants and greenery.
I feel like that was Chris's way to test if I remembered the meeting. Like Will doesn't.
between those 2 beers and some firecracker shrimp, I don't remember nothing.
That was really good
No.
shrimp too.
That was. So were
Yeah,
those cheese
those-
curds.
Those cheese
curds
curds are
are-
stupid good.
Yeah, we got to talk about food a little bit.
Right?
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Because we're a book club, so there has to be
Yeah.
food involved.
Food and drink.
So, but yeah, we're gonna try to figure out maybe a week or two, like an issue or two. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
like
it's
a whole
not
month
gonna
or
be
anything.
right. Yeah.
But we thought it would be fun to incorporate something for spring.
Yeah.
You got St. Patrick's Day, so it's got to be lucky. We maybe find something about leprechauns. I have a feeling we might be able to visit like John Constantine for something like that.
Oh, that might be interesting.
For, like
I
St.
bet they have
Patrick's
something
Day.
like that.
Like for whatever reason, I've not looked into it. I have zero evidence to support this claim, but I feel like John Constantine would have a good issue for St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, we read an issue where he drank Guinness, so I mean,
The greatest
The greatest
Guinness
Guinness
ever,
yes, can even defeat the devil. So,
because it was made out of holy water.
so, yep, we'll do something for spring as we roll into summer. For the patriotic month of July, we're going to do at least one episode, one issue. Dang it, swear jar.
I'll get a bell.
You're gonna
Everybody
hit it.
Ding. He
right.
said the wrong word.
Ding.
I could probably just start post editing in a bell, but anyway,
We don't need a bell.
what do you want? A buzzer?
I don't know.
Well,
Do we even need anything?
if he would let me near the buttons, or I'll just buy a mixer. You have a mixer. I'll steal yours.
Please
No,
don't
I'll
steal
just-
my mixer.
I'll just buy one.
If you're gonna steal my mixer, label everything before you unplug it.
I feel like you just want everything labeled.
No.
It's a trick. He's like, I've always been too lazy to do this. Hey, Will, if you want my mixer, you're gonna
I
steal
want
it.
I want everything to work when I put it back. That's what I want.
Labeling stuff with a lot of cables is important.
It is.
It is. But Will, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do for the 4th?
Yeah,
okay,
well.
so the 4th of July, for that weekend, we're gonna do like Captain America, or maybe some Superman, some very iconic American. But for the rest of that month, we're gonna do independent comic book artists,
Yeah.
smaller time. Maybe you've never heard of either this hero or this publisher, and then kind of bring them out a little bit.
Yeah.
See what we can find.
Yeah. So
For the independents.
Logan, we know you're listening. If you have a suggestion that isn't Scud the Disposable Assassin, because you've already given us that, on another independent comic that you think this podcast might benefit from, send it in. And anybody else who's listening, you can do that too. I just know Logan probably thought of one immediately when Will said that.
Yeah.
He probably already went, oh, I know what they should do.
We're expecting your email, Logan. So please, as a reminder, you have already got it, but longbox@guyswithissues.com. Thank you.
So, yeah, he's been a several emailer at this point. He's sent in several. So that was Will's idea, though, because we talked about doing a whole month of, those kind of like American heroes, throw in Captain America, Superman, maybe G.I. Joe, the real American heroes.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were like, do we want to do that for a whole month? We can do that other stuff throughout anyway. We have plans for different characters already. But then we were like, hey, Will goes, what if we do Independence for Independence Day? And
Yeah.
I was like, Oh, that was a great idea.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It was. So you can thank Will for that. That was
Yep,
Will's
you're welcome,
idea.
everybody. It's going to be our best month ever.
He's so humble.
So humble.
He's amazing. His humility is to be awed and inspired by.
Honestly, that's what everybody says about me. Like, man, he is just so humble, and I agree. I never talk about myself.
Man, I'm like swimming through sarcasm here. It's so thick.
Oh, we skipped one. We did talk about for Free Comic Book Day, kind of that national comic book holiday
yeah.
at the end of April. So this is pre-July now. We're backing up. End of April, beginning of May, usually like first weekend in May, is Free Comic Book Day, as long as they don't roll it around. But we'll make sure we have the date ahead of time. And so leading into that, we thought it would be fun to look at a lot of comic book firsts.
Yep.
Like first appearances that's one we talked about for Superman. Superman, for those of you who don't know, I think we may have mentioned it before, but I can't remember. But he is the first superhero ever. Action Comics #1 introduced the world of comics to superheroes. And so that is definitely going to be one that shows up.
Sorry. You do this thing where you shake your leg,
I know.
right? But it was shaking the picture of Pat next to like the Doctor Who people.
Yes.
And
Yeah, everything
I was
in our
like,
room
wait, are
shakes
you
when I'm there.
are you really shaking your leg
My-
so hard as to vibrate a shelf?
Here's a tangent. I'm going to have to tell this story because it fills me with childhood woundings. So, guys with issues, here's a true issue
Here we go.
of Chris's.
Let it out, buddy.
So, growing up and having, severe ADHD and part of that being if I'm paying attention or focused, I'm probably moving. My legs are always bouncing. I never sit still, as the two guys in this room know. And when I was younger and still at home, growing up with my family, if we would be eating dinner as a family at the dinner table, my leg would be moving and the table would clearly be shaking, just like the bookcase was. And this would aggravate my father terribly. And he would become very, very angry. And I would have to adjust and not be able to move. But the problem with that, when you're like me, is then all you can do is focus on not moving, and you pretty much can't pay attention or think about anything following that. So if you're somebody who can't take somebody not being still, and we're ever together, give me a solid heads up because it might irritate you to where you can't focus. But if you need me to be still, just know that I may not take away everything from our conversation. Deep.
I mean,
deep
I've never
childhood.
personally cared about it, but back in the day when we had already become pretty good friends, and we were going to Gen Con together. I don't know if you remember this, but we were driving to the hotel like the night before it started, and like it's not a crazy long drive because it's in Indianapolis, so it was like 2 hours,
Couple hours, yeah.
Whatever. I think we took a detour through this town I've always wanted to go through.
Yep, I remember.
There was like
that.
road construction, but it was like Arcadia. And that was a town or a country in like Final Fantasy 12, I think it was.
You were
Like,
like, I want to see the sign.
There was road construction anyways or something, so we had a detour. Like, oh, we're going to go through this town. Hooray.
Hooray.
But then we were in Indy driving around, and his leg was just like going crazy in my
'Cause you
car
were
as I'm driving.
Yep.
I'm like, do you need me to go fast? Do you need to use the bathroom or something? Because it was like the first time I actually noticed how bad his leg was bouncing. And usually when people do that, they're trying to like,
Right. Yeah.
hold in their pee or something. Like, dude, if we needed to stop at like a gas station, he's like, oh no, I'm fine. I just do that. I'm like, oh, okay.
Because it does shake a car. It does. Like at a stop
Yeah,
sign.
yeah.
Like it shakes a car.
And after that moment, I'm like, oh, this is just a
Idiosyncrasy.
characteristic of Chris.
Yeah.
It's a Chris characteristic.
It is. It is.
Christopheristic.
There you go.
This reminds me of like Tiggerific.
Right?
And I used to be called Tigger because I was always
Oh, I believe it.
bouncing.
You still are.
Yeah.
Literally right now.
Yeah, and I know. I'm afraid of your Batman picture is going to fall over. I keep seeing it. Oh,
Well, see, I was
shoot.
confused because Pat. Okay, you guys can't see this. but
After all
Pat
these
is
months
literally
with
right
us.
next to the bookcase. Chris is about 2 feet away,
Solid 2 feet.
solid 2 feet at least, maybe like 2 strong, but he still can shake the bookcase.
Yep,
Yeah, my mic is always bouncing, so I try to.
it is. I've noticed.
Oh man, yeah. So there you go, listener. You just learned more
There you
about your
go.
friends on the other side in podcast land. Oh, but yeah, we're gonna do firsts for the month of most likely May is what it will probably be. I'll double check.
Sure.
It'll be April or May. We'll do a month first. And then the only other one that we have solid plans for as of now are in October. October is going to be spooky,
Right.
right?
Yeah, it's kind of a gimme.
Which
Yeah.
had we thought about it earlier this year, it would have been the same this year. But we
Yeah.
just didn't.
So we had the idea before Halloween.
Right.
We did.
We did.
And we had a discussion about recording some things for this past year, like past October, where we were like, hey, we could still fit in an episode or two. We can pick like, Hellboy, Hellblazer, like something. And
Or if we wanted to be a little bit more on the nose, the long Halloween.
yeah, right. That's one that we should do
That
just
is- yeah.
because. But it starts on Halloween. That's why it's so. Yeah, that would be
Maybe that should be the last
Ooh,
week
Yeah.
of October.
Because that's when Halloween is.
Right.
yeah, that'd be a good one.
I think
Anyway.
I have
So,
that one.
you
Like,
do.
I have the hard copy. That might be 2
Big.
issues worth
Yeah.
of.
It's 12 issues.
Comics.
It's 12 issues long.
Okay.
Is it?
So, yeah, so
Yeah.
we could split it. We could discuss it.
yeah.
It's a single story though. Like it's
It's pretty
But-
solid though. It's pretty good.
for those of you that read along, if you don't like it when we go over 6 to 8 issues, if you find that too much to read, let us know for real. We're trying to keep it closer to 6 when we read things this coming year. That's something that we're trying to be considerate about. And there are stories that are a little longer that we would like to do. But if you would rather, if you're one of the people following along and you don't mind when it's like 10 or 12 issues, shoot us an email, let us know, contact us somehow or another, however it is you normally do. We have a few people that literally just like text us or tell us. But please let us
yeah.
know if you are reading along and you have a preference to the amount of issues. We want to be considerate to those who are actually trying to participate in the way that we do this. So, and why we do this. That's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
So we want to make
This
sure
is
that
why we do it.
this is why we do it.
You knew that
I know
was
how
gonna
to.
happen.
I know how to trigger this
I
guy.
know, right?
That's actually how my wife is. My wife has a song for everything. And so it's just part of our household.
That's fun.
It is. But so those are our definite plans. Couples month, something for spring, first time appearances and comics like that, patriotics and independence, and spookies. Also, Logan did suggest for Halloween this year, he sent several months back an email that suggested us reading this. I believe it's like a Punisher storyline that's very scary, or he's fighting. I don't remember all of the details. Maybe I'm totally off. I'd have to look back at the email. We might work that one in. It sounded really interesting. That might be a good one for that month. So, again, send your suggestions if you have some that you'd love to hear us talk about. We would love to participate with you instead of you just following along with us. We can always throw those things in. And then the other thing that we're going to talk about. Changes.
Changes.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Keeping
So-
the music theme going.
Somebody has to,
Yes.
Well,
not just Chris.
And the changes he is referring to is a change in how we record, I
that
believe.
is correct. Yep.
So, yes, we've decided that, kind of like a look behind the curtain, we've been recording like way ahead of time. So we're like 2 or 3 months ahead. But then that's kind of hard for us to react quickly to feedback or anything. And we have gotten some pretty good feedback. And so in order to be able to be a little bit more live, we're still going to keep a library just in case. We,
Back catalog.
back catalog kind of just in case we can't record a weekend or, whatever. But
if life gets in the way,
yeah, if life gets in the way, which it always does.
Life
does.
finds
Freaking
a way.
life.
to get in the way. Yes.
Life finds a way to get in the
Yeah.
way.
So we're going
Put it on a shirt.
We're start recording a little bit more quote unquote live. So
Yeah, when we say live, we mean current to the weeks.
yeah.
So-
So when you guys have questions and stuff, we can immediately in the moment without having to go back and edit and try and work in a bunch of other recording sessions to try to react to live things. We're just going to
So we're hoping to be 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
still be recording, I think, 2 what we would call live episodes at a time, like we do now. So there are going to be, which would actually mean that sometimes we're going to be less than a full week out, because if we typically record Saturdays, we release on Wednesday.
Right.
So there Saturday, like if we are rolling it close, one of those Saturday episodes issue. Dag nabbit. What is it with me today?
ding, ding, ding.
Dag nabbit. One of those Saturday issues would potentially be the one that releases Wednesday.
So yeah, I didn't
as
know
long
if you
as-
wanted to have a buffer week in there.
I
for
think
editing.
I think it as long there are a lot of times where I'm not more ahead than that anyway. Sometimes I don't start till the weekend on editing.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes it would be nice, but again, if we keep, we've talked about keeping like at least 4 to 6 in our backlog that we can always pull from in case something goes awry. And overall, though, we're hoping that, like Will said, that this really lets us be more easily participating with you guys, right? Like,
Yeah,
ultimately.
Make it feel more like a conversation because it's like the original idea behind this podcast was a book club,
Yeah.
which is not wholesomely unoriginal, or wholesomely original,
Book clubs aren't original? We didn't come up with that idea?
but as a podcast.
What if you made a club out of books?
I think you could probably hit some people pretty hard.
That's what I just thought.
That'd
I was
probably
like,
be
a book club.
Probably a lot of
Yes.
history there.
But
Anyway.
yeah, we could make it feel more like a conversation we're having with our viewers than what it has
Faster react time to suggestions as well.
Suggestions,
Yeah.
feedback. That's a big one.
That's-
We've had a
that's the
couple
big
people who are like, hey, I would love it if you guys would look at this. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. We would love to do that because then that brings you and your suggestion in, and we get to be a little more intimate that way. That's cool, connecting.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we're like in 3 months because we
Yeah.
have 3 months worth of issues already recorded, and they are like queued up the way that we do it. And we're like, we don't like that we have to put your suggestions on the back burner. We don't like that. So we value your input and we want more of it. And to help foster that, I think that this will help.
I mean, usually we react pretty quickly in our time,
In-
but in the
in-
viewers' time, it's
Right.
It's months.
it's
yes.
months.
Yeah,
months
and
ahead,
that's
months out.
really what it is. It's that we do react, we do record, and we go, okay, in 10 more episodes,
Yeah.
Christoph's suggestion will air. And so while we take it into consideration immediately, it'd be nice if you could experience your suggestions directly instead.
Right.
So-
Because I think I tell my Christoph story. Has that aired yet?
I don't.
I mean, it probably has by this point in time.
Well, yeah. I mean,
have no idea where we're
now.
We know.
Will's like, they put me in this little bubble and we travel through time. And then I come out of a pod and I'm like, wow, what year is it? I don't even know where I'm at anymore. And so, but yeah, that's our big change. Our big change is we're going to make things more current. By the time this is airing, our current backlog will be depleted ultimately, and we're going to have a small amount to go off of if needed. But from here on out, we are going to be recording a more current lifestyle podcast. So
And
Yes.
and we do apologize that if we reference something that we've read and not published yet, because we are human and we might make mistakes.
yeah, know that because of we are going to keep a small back catalog, there might be times where we go, oh, it's like when we read this, and maybe we haven't actually published that yet. Maybe that's in the back catalog, and so we will do our best to avoid having too many in jokes that nobody gets until later, we're still going to be us, so it will undoubtedly
Right, it's going to
create
happen.
problems.
But
But at the same time, that was a good thing to point out that sometimes there might be something that seems a little out of sync, but we'd prefer it that way to make things better on your end as a listener.
right,
So I don't think that detriment outweighs the detriment of our lack of reaction time.
right, I agree. Which is why we're doing this.
Yes, we're doing it for you, listener, folks
Yeah.
out there,
Your people.
people.
No, I'm thinking of
Person.
folk
What it-
music.
I could,
I know you could. I know you could.
Pretty funny.
I was like,
Because even though I don't listen to those episodes, he did
I made him listen
make me
to
listen to that.
the time that I cut the folk music into the outro on the Green Lantern,
Right.
Emerald Twilight issue, because I was like, he'll never even know that there was a joke. Thanks, Will.
You're welcome.
The sincerity of that expression.
Right.
Anyway, so that was our big New Year's announcement in a very long and roundabout
Wow.
drawn out way.
Yeah.
In an episode that we thought, dang it.
We told ourselves that it was like, oh, this will be a quickie.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I mean, it still could be, depending on the amount I cut out of it. Maybe I'll just
Darn
leave
you,
it.
gatekeeper.
You guys get then the listener can just enjoy us in our rawest form. Whatever. Anyway, you guys have anything else to say with the new year rolling down on us?
Good luck.
Good luck.
Best wishes. Stick to those goals.
Your life coaches will be here with you.
Yes. If you need some Wednesday morning encouragement, we will be there.
Yeah, maybe for the next couple recordings, we should just be like, hey, have you made it this far? It's week 1.
It's week
Week
1.
2. Week 3.
And most of you've dropped off at this point.
Listening, not with your goals. You're going to
Right,
hit
right.
those. You're going to.
Right.
Hey, I'm just going to suggest that one of your New Year's goals, I'm going to put it on the table right here. Oh, wait.
All right.
Is to listen to Guys with Issues every week.
Yeah, Will.
Yeah.
Hell no. That ain't going to happen at all.
Here I was talking to all those people out in podcast land. And no, Will's like, I'm not doing that.
Expect me to listen to my own podcast?
My
What is
goodness.
this?
It's okay. I listen enough for everybody.
Right? I laugh at, I still think it was funny where like we were talking to
shoot.
Gunner and you told him like, yeah, Will doesn't listen to the podcast. And he was like, wait, Will doesn't listen to his own podcast? Oh. Yeah, it was. And this is why we do this.
Because you don't listen.
Yep. And that's
So-
where we're end. Goodbye.
So don't.
That's Pat. This is Will. He's Chris. We're Guys with Issues. Bye. You can catch the new issue of Guys with Issues each week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Or check out our website at guyswithissues.com, where you can listen, find reading lists, follow along, and get to know us better.
Send us emails to longbox@guyswithissues.com and tell us your thoughts or send us suggestions on what we should read next. We would love to hear from our listener.
Well, I keep telling you, stop editing these. Just slap
I
them up
would
there.
absolutely not publish an unedited issue. There's no way.
Okay, that needs to be an end credit somewhere. just that.
I would never in my life publish something unedited. How dare you even suggest something so vile?
If they even knew the amount of times that what they hear wasn't real.
What kind of
What kind
lower
of integrity
class
do these-
citizen do you think I am? Releasing unedited content.
Unless you join our Patreon.